Tonight, the powerful storm slamming BC leave a young mother dead.
So close to Christmas, I just feel for the family.
Hit by a falling branch in high winds while out for a walk with her kids. The shocking tragedy as the relentless rains continue. Anger and deep grief as the first victims from Australia's mass shooting are laid to rest.
She knew she was loved. She wasn't alone.
And the new video showing a courageous couple who tried to stop the gunman. CBC News is in Sydney tonight. Helmets while sledding. Hills not too high and not too steep.
I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think kids are kids.
The controversial new tobogganing rules proposed for Quebec schools.
From CBC News, this is The National with Christine Birak.
Thanks for joining us. Adrian is away. A BC family has been torn apart after a shocking, tragic accident during a series of severe storms still pounding the province tonight. A 27-year-old mother struck and killed by a falling tree while out for a walk in a park with her kids. And that dangerous weather just won't let up. Wind warnings are in effect overnight for parts of the Fraser Valley, east of Vancouver, and torrential rain still falling after days of flooding. Yasmin Reiner shows us the community left stunned and a region exhausted.
A growing memorial for a young mother killed by a falling tree limb. A deadly freak accident, the first in a series of severe storms in BC's Fraser Valley.
At this point, there's nothing to indicate that this was anything other than an absolute tragedy.
The victim, 27 years old, described by one of her friends as a great mother, friend, and partner, just out for a walk in a park in Chilliwack Monday afternoon. Police say she was with her 2 young children who were not hurt.
We saw about 12 officers there and a tree down, and we were asked to leave the park. There's been an issue.
Darren Clark often walks through the park, shocked to learn what happened.
So close to Christmas, I just feel for the family. It's a tough one.
The death took place during a fierce windstorm. Environment Canada says wind gusts reached nearly 70 kilometers per hour.
It was definitely moving through, and it didn't appear where we were in Chilliwack to stay long in one place. So reasonable that somebody would have gone out and it would not have been that windy.
Other parts of the Fraser Valley saw gusts upwards of 100 kilometers per hour. Downed trees and power lines left thousands in the region without power Monday. The Fraser Valley has been inundated with heavy rain for nearly a week, flooding homes and businesses and killing livestock, prompting fears of landslides and more trees falling.
The biggest threat for many areas is going to be the winds coming in behind it as much as anything else. You know, we've got these saturated basins. We've got trees that are now have absolutely water-soaked root systems.
The area could see another 70 millimeters of rain by Wednesday morning as a family is left to deal with unimaginable loss. 2 people were nearby at the time of the incident. They rushed in to help, calling 911 and staying by the children's side until emergency crews arrived. I spoke to one of them, but she was too shaken up to be on camera, a sign of how deeply this tragedy is affecting so many people.
And Yasmin, what can you tell us about the vigil held for the woman?
There was a vigil held not far from where the tree hit. Family and friends stopped by and laid flowers. So grief-stricken, they didn't talk to us on camera and are asking for privacy.
All right, thanks for this. The CBC's Yasmin Reiner in Chilliwack, BC tonight. Funerals are beginning in Australia for some of the victims of the Bondi Beach shooting as more details emerge about the identities and bravery of those who died and about the men who killed them. Georgie Smythe is in Sydney tonight.
Morning rituals at Bondi. At dawn, swimmers formed a circle of memorial for the lives lost at their beach. On the shore, that grief is felt in quiet moments and raw emotion from shattered families. The shoes of 10-year-old Matilda placed at the memorial by her mother. She says her daughter was running to her father when she was shot.
She knew she was loved. She wasn't alone.
More footage from the attack targeting a Hanukkah celebration which killed 15 people reveal more acts of courage. Reuven Morrison throws bricks at an attacker before being shot and killed.
He went down fighting, protecting the people he loved the most.
In this dashcam video, Boris and Sophia Gorman disarm a gunman before they too were killed. A homemade ISIS flag visible in the windshield. Evidence of what investigators say motivated Sajid and Navid Akram. Police are also looking at the pair's 4-week trip to the Philippines last month, where fragments of the terrorist group exist. The difficult farewells of those killed have now begun, carried out under high security, with so much fear mixed in with the grieving. Thousands attended the funeral of Rabbi Eli Schlanger, a dear friend of Rabbi Yaskov Baba.
There's a saying we have in the Jewish religion: when God takes, he takes the best. These were the best.
At the crime scene itself, the ground is still scattered with reminders of the chaos as people ran for their lives or sheltered their children beneath them. It's surreal for Basil Marcy, who decided not to attend the event last minute.
It's pretty sad to keep asking ourselves, where on earth are we safe? Where can we go to just live our lives, just normal lives, and like everyone else.
We understand that the 24-year-old suspect that survived has woken up from a coma in hospital. Police were anxious to speak to him before laying significant charges.
And Georgie, there's been a lot of anger and a lot of questions directed at authorities.
Yes, the country's intelligence agencies have been criticised for not doing enough to prevent an attack like this. The Prime Minister says that those systems will be examined for weaknesses. Jewish groups have also said that they've been warning about an attack like this for months, but it fell on deaf ears. Now political leaders are calling for a royal commission into anti-Semitism.
Thanks for this, Georgie. Georgie Smythe in Sydney, Australia. The son of famed actor-director Rob Reiner is facing 2 charges of first-degree murder tonight, accused of killing his parents in their Los Angeles home. Paul Hunter now with the latest on this case and the growing backlash after Donald Trump disparaged Reiner just hours after the murders.
Now facing 2 counts of first-degree murder, Nick Reiner, son of Hollywood filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. The couple found stabbed to death in their Los Angeles area home on the weekend.
Prosecuting these cases involving family members are some of the most challenging and most heart-wrenching cases that this office faces because of the intimate and often brutal nature of the crimes involved.
The horrific double killing has stunned Hollywood, but along with sorrow are growing stories of Nick's drug abuse, mental health issues, and talk of a loud family argument at a celebrity Christmas party just before the killing.
You will hear in the media rumors. You will hear speculation. And there's a good chance you are hearing misinformation. Because at the appropriate time, the actual evidence involved in this case will be presented in a court of law.
Add to that politics and U.S. President Donald Trump.
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all.
Reiner was a Democrat and vocal critic. On word of his death, Trump wrote Reiner suffered Trump derangement syndrome. For that, Trump was slammed.
Blaming his death on the fact that he is an outspoken liberal, insulting someone who's just been murdered, it's so hateful and vile.
Others have followed. Retired wrestling star Mick Foley writing Trump's comments were incredibly cruel and that Trump is void of compassion. Republican lawmaker Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Trump backer turned critic, saying the Reiner tragedy should be met with empathy. And from this fellow Republican,
it's time for decency and kindness, not, I don't know, trolling the family. So we need more class.
Trump rarely backs down from such stuff and has shown no sign he will on this. Say authorities in Los Angeles, if convicted, Nick Reiner could face the death penalty. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
She's normally behind the scenes, but Donald Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, is suddenly in the spotlight. Vanity Fair published an article including some candid quotes from Wiles about her boss. Katie Simpson with the reaction and the damage control.
To the recent conclusion.
Susie Wiles is never far from President Donald Trump's side. His trusted, respected, and loyal chief of staff. Trump even recently joked about how close they are.
So, Susie Trump, do you know Susie Trump? Sometimes referred to as Susie Wiles, Susie Trump. She's the great chief of staff.
But now in this Vanity Fair article, Wiles is speaking out, offering candid remarks during 11 interviews over the course of a year. She said Trump has an alcoholic's personality, and he operates with a view that there's nothing he can't do. Vice President J.D. Vance, she says he's been a conspiracy theorist for a decade, which Vance seemed to laugh off.
Sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true.
The ice baby.
Since Trump was elected, Wiles admits she's tried to rein in his attempts to seek revenge and settle scores, saying in one interview, and there may be an element of that from time to time, who would blame him? Not me. And after Trump demanded the prosecution of New York Attorney General Letitia James, Wiles said that might be the one retribution. On tariffs, Wiles says there was huge disagreement at the White House over whether they were a good idea, and Trump pushed ahead even when his team was not on board. On those U.S. military boat strikes, the ones Trump says are about targeting drug smugglers, Wiles says it's actually about regime change in Venezuela, saying Trump wants to keep on blowing up boats until Maduro cries uncle. And people way smarter than me on that say that he will. For now, the White House is supporting Wiles by attacking the press.
This is, unfortunately, another example of disingenuous reporting.
Wiles called the article a hit piece, saying that it lacked context and disregarded much of what she said. Trump is standing by her, suggesting he's not offended. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Ottawa is rolling out new regulations to cut methane emissions, but critics are skeptical they will help Canada reach its 2030 reduction target. Some pointing to the government's new memorandum of understanding with Alberta. Not just the possibility of a pipeline, but also delayed rules for compliance.
They can still fit together to get to our objectives.
The regulations include banning the intentional release of excess natural gas. Operators can also design their own approach to controlling methane. Skate Canada says it will no longer host national and international events in Alberta over the province's transgender sports law. Julia Wong now with the impact and how the Premier is responding.
Mere weeks after holding a major competition in Alberta, Skate Canada says it won't hold any more national or international events in the province because of Alberta's transgender sports law. It blocks trans athletes from competing in amateur female sports. Skate Canada, in a statement, says it's maintaining our national standards for safe and inclusive sport. Retired Canadian ice dancer Caitlin Weaver calls this move significant.
I am a queer woman. I couldn't be more proud and I couldn't be more supportive of their choice.
Weaver sees the decision as a way to support the 2S LGBTQ+ community.
Skate Canada has been working for years to shorten and make the gap smaller between these groups of people that don't feel welcome.
There's been loud pushback against this law and others affecting trans youth. This month, the Alberta government invoked the notwithstanding clause to protect the laws from charter challenges. In a social media post, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith slammed the organization, saying, "We expect Skate Canada will apologize and adjust their policies once they realize they are not only compromising the fairness and safety of their athletes, but are also offside with the international community." A number of global sporting bodies have effectively banned transgender women from competing in women's sports, including the U.S. Olympic Committee and World Aquatics. One professor says Skate Canada is making a statement.
It does send a message to other federations, other sports in Canada that, this is our stance, and we follow the safe sport policy. Hint, hint, you should look at your policies.
Skate Canada says Alberta athletes can still participate in its programs and competitions. The organization says it will reassess hosting opportunities as circumstances evolve. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
A second person involved in selling ketamine to Canadian actor Matthew Perry has been sentenced and is avoiding prison time. A California court sentenced Dr. Mark Chavez to 8 months of house arrest. He's among 5 people charged in the actor's overdose death. He admitted to obtaining ketamine through a fraudulent prescription and selling it to another doctor who gave it to Perry. A group of Canadians has been denied entry into the occupied West Bank for what Israel says are security reasons. The group includes several MPs, one of whom told Rafi Boudjikanian she was treated roughly at the border.
Turned away trying to enter the occupied West Bank. A Canadian delegation, including some MPs, says it was held for hours trying to cross from Jordan.
Frankly, I'm quite surprised and shocked and also saddened.
The group included about 30 people. Some of them were asked to sign these forms by Israeli officials, listing public security as a reason for the rejection.
And he pushed me.
One MP said an Israeli officer even shoved her into a wall. She told him to back off.
He said, "I will touch you as much as I want," and pushed me again. At that point, another Israeli officer came and he continued to push me back further until some delegates got involved.
Israel's ambassador to Canada says if that physical confrontation happened, it should not have.
I think that's lamentable. It shouldn't happen. But in such extreme, tense situations, sometimes, people make decisions and, do things that are not supposed to do.
In January 2024, another group of MPs entered the occupied West Bank and spoke with Palestinians. The same non-profit called Canadian Muslim Vote, which sponsored that trip, is behind this one. But now Israel says the group is funded by Islamic Relief Worldwide, which it considers a terrorist organization.
We've admitted, vast majority of visitors without any questions. And so the issue really is here, the link to a terrorist organization.
The allegation rejected as a baseless smear by Canadian Muslim Vote, which accuses Israel of keeping witnesses away from the West Bank, where the UN estimates more than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces or settlers in the last 2 years.
We need to respect international law, and in this humanitarian crisis is a call for action.
Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister says Global Affairs is in contact with the delegation and she has expressed her objections regarding the mistreatment of its members. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Jerusalem.
New recommendations for sledding hills have Quebecers talking.
The people who are in fear are the adults. That's the problem.
What it could mean for schools next. Canada's newest team unveils their new look.
3, 2, 1.
The Toronto Tempo's first ever jerseys, plus the holidays light up one Newfoundland harbor.
And every year they add on more and more, from lights, thousands of lights, to blow-ups.
The colorful tradition in our moment. We're back in 2. After more than a year under wraps, the jerseys to be worn by the WNBA's Toronto Tempo were unveiled ahead of the 2026 inaugural season.
The excitement is real, just like the uniform is real. It's something you can touch and feel. For so long, the team has, as an expansion team, it hasn't quite felt real. So now we have some tangible things to connect with.
The Tempo's debut season kicks off in May with most home games in Toronto. The club will also play 2 home games in both Vancouver and Montreal. For most Canadian school kids, snowbanks are a staple of winter play, but new safety guidelines in Quebec are spelling out complex rules for how kids can use them. As Alexander Silberman shows us, some say it goes too far.
A winter tradition in many Canadian schoolyards, jumping, sliding, and rolling down big mounds of snow. But now some Quebec schools are being encouraged to follow a long list of safety rules, including possibly wearing helmets.
The people who are in fear are the adults. That's the problem.
I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think kids are kids. Playing in the snow is normal.
The guidelines, issued to dozens of school districts, come from a group insurance association aiming to avoid complaints from parents and potential lawsuits.
School staff will have to get out the measuring tape, keeping track in a daily log. Snow piles will have to be between 1.8 and 3 meters high, with a grade of about 25%.
If the rules can't be followed, kids should wear helmets. This school district spokesperson says her schools plan to follow the guidelines. If hills don't comply, they will be closed or made smaller so students can still have fun.
Je trouve ça un petit peu exagéré.
But Quebec's premier weighing in, arguing the idea of kids wearing helmets in the schoolyard is excessive.
I'm a bit concerned in terms of trying to be overly prescriptive around how we provide those kinds of environments.
The Canadian Pediatric Society says outdoor risky play is an essential part of childhood development. And its 2024 report found taking chances and even getting hurt to be key to kids' mental, physical, and social well-being.
How fast do I want to take my speed down that slope? Those kinds of things that we want to really allow kids to make decisions for themselves.
There are no consequences if schools don't implement the rules, many trying to strike a balance, keeping kids safe while letting a little bit of a tumble still be part of the fun. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Montreal.
People in Gaza desperately need life-saving care, but many can't get it.
With the war and with no medications, his condition grew worse.
CBC News is in Turkey with families who managed to get out. And Canada's Navy prepares to head south again.
Every lesson that we learned in Antarctica, we can apply to the north.
We take you inside an Antarctic mission. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. After 18 days, a stubborn fire smoldering in the wall between these two Toronto apartment buildings is finally out. But damage is still being assessed, and there's no timeline yet on when residents can return.
There are absolutely units that adjoin this wall where we have cut into the walls, where we have drilled holes into the walls.
The fire burned slowly through combustible particle board in what's being called one of the most complex fires in Toronto's history. What caused it is still under investigation. A CBC News investigation has found more than a third of complaints filed by Ontario inmates this year are about access to health care. Julie Ireton has the details, including a pregnant woman's struggle to get care behind bars.
I decided to keep some of this stuff.
Inside this paper bag are tokens of Ashley Stevens' 4 months in 2 Ontario jails. She was charged with uttering threats, mischief, and assault. After violating her bail conditions, she was incarcerated and then found out she was pregnant.
So that's when I knew something wasn't right about this pregnancy.
Okay.
I felt something was off.
Weeks into her detention, she lost the baby.
I kept telling their nurses, I'm still bleeding a lot. Oh, how many pads are you going through? And I'd tell them, but sometimes couldn't even get pads.
Then an unrelated wound on her buttocks got infected. She eventually was taken to hospital. She had surgery for both the pregnancy loss and the infection.
It got to the point where I got sepsis, and the doctor even said if I didn't come in when I did, I would have been dead.
She's among many prisoners with health issues while incarcerated.
The health complaints jump off the page. Like, these are not frivolous claims.
This year, more than a third of the complaints from inmates were about access to health care and medication.
So people with health issues and with mental health issues often end up behind bars. They don't have enough staff. They don't have enough resources for that. And the prison is not a hospital.
Ontario's jail population has increased more than 30% since 2019. There are thousands more inmates, but the same number of beds. Staffing is also an issue.
You put 3,000 inmates into the system, and you don't have additional staff to take care of the inmates and the service delivery. I mean, like, there's going to be impacts.
Ontario's Ministry of the Solicitor General tells CBC it's hiring 2,500 staff, including mental health counselors and nurses, to address staff shortages. Ashley Stevens pleaded guilty to some of the charges against her.
The judge had seen everything that I had went through.
After 3 months in jail awaiting trial, the judge acknowledged her medical hardship. She was given a sentence of 30 days. Julie Ireton, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. Canada's Navy is preparing for another scientific expedition to the Southern Ocean.
We're currently in ice mode as we speak right now.
CBC News got exclusive access aboard the last Antarctic mission. But first,
I was walking in the street. There is explosion beside me.
some of the tens of thousands wounded in Gaza are getting treatment abroad. We're in Turkey to see the urgent need that doesn't always come in time.
And after 4 days, he's sick. He's dead.
Hundreds have been taken to Turkey, and Briar Stewart got a chance to meet some of them. They showed her the injuries they're dealing with and the care they're receiving.
It must seem like one big adventure for Habiba Abu Zarqa. The 9-month-old exudes the kind of carefree confidence that only a baby has. For her parents, this journey has been much harsher. The Abu Zarqas were evacuated from Gaza to Turkey 3 months ago. Back then, they were a family of 5 with 2 young children in need of urgent hospital care. Today, there are only 4 of them.
When would that picture have been taken?
This was their son Abdullah, a few days before the family's medical evacuation.
He was sick. We come from Gaza to here. And after 4 days, he's sick. He's dead.
He suffered from a condition that weakened his bones and left him with a vitamin D deficiency. With the war and with no medications, his condition grew worse, said his dad, Hani Mohammed. But there has been little time to grieve. Habiba also needs life-saving care.
To do something?
That's the sound of an alarm warning that her blood sugar is too low. So her father prepares a specialized formula. She has a rare condition where her body has a hard time handling and storing glucose. For now, she's fed through a nasal tube, getting tests and treatment that were just not available in Gaza's beleaguered hospitals. The doctors there helped us and they were good, but they didn't have enough resources to diagnose her, he said. In Gaza, those hospitals still functioning are overwhelmed. According to the World Health Organization, more than 16,000 patients are waiting for medical evacuation. The group Doctors Without Borders says that over the past 2 years, more than 900 have died while waiting for a way out. Among the most vulnerable, some of those born into war. Mariam Abu Mustafa isn't even 2 years old. She's losing weight and regressing, and doctors don't know why. A hospital in Italy has agreed to treat her, but her family is still waiting. They've been telling me today or tomorrow for 4 months, said her mother, Dua. Doctors and health officials have been pleading for all of Gaza's borders to be reopened so more patients can get the potentially life-saving care they need. Since the start of the war, more than 10,000 have been allowed out of Gaza to receive medical care. The patients include those with cancer, chronic conditions, and traumatic injuries.
There is nerve injury and partial paralysis of this muscle.
Mohammed Hamouda shows his badly scarred legs, debilitating injuries he suffered at the end of June when an Israeli bomb struck a few meters away from him.
I was walking in the street. There is explosion beside me.
Now he's waiting to see a surgeon.
I hope that I don't lose my job as physiotherapist because I am responsible for family, 3 children and wife.
And they're all here in Turkey. in a temporary housing unit originally built for the survivors of the 2023 earthquake in this region. Up until a month and a half ago, the family was living in a tent, forced to move around a dozen times because of the threat of airstrikes. In the early weeks of the war, Hamoud's house and his clinic were destroyed in northern Gaza. He found work cooking food in a kitchen run by a non-profit, but then he was severely injured.
At the first time when they say me in the bed in the hospital, they shock, crying, and hug me and ask me why you are in the bed.
Ever since he left the hospital, his children frequently cling to his side.
The mid of the night, they woke me, Baba, Baba, are you still alive? I want to hug you, like this.
That must be hard for you to hear when you hear your kids asking those questions.
I speak with you and my brain in the past. It is so difficult time.
There are fears for families still back in Gaza, mixed with relief for being given a way out. Back at Nasser Hospital in Han Yunis, Abu Mustafa finally got the call she was waiting for. A freelance videographer working for CBC News was there as she packed and got ready to take her daughter and young son to Italy. Thank God, after all of the suffering, finally she will be evacuated, she said. This ambulance is taking them on the first part of their journey. She's unclear how long she will be able to stay in Italy and just what Gaza will be like when she does return. None of these families know the answer to that. But for now, this housing complex in Turkey has become a neighborhood for Gazans, a play space between medical appointments, and above all, Hamoud says, somewhere safe for his children.
They need to learn and they need to play and they need to discover the world.
He wants to try and learn Turkish and register his children for school, but he worries he won't be able to make a full recovery, and about where they will all go just once he finishes his medical treatment here.
Reiner, beyond what's happening in Turkey, give us a sense of the scale of the help elsewhere.
Well, more than 10,000 Palestinians have been evacuated from Gaza for medical care, and that group includes those who have traumatic injuries and also chronic illnesses like cancer. Egypt took in the most, more than 6,000 patients, but Qatar and the UAE also took in several hundred.
And Reiner, what do we know about what happens next for those families?
Well, these arrangements are supposed to be temporary. The families we spoke to said they had no idea how long they'd be able to stay in Turkey. It depends on how long their treatment takes. And of course, that can be quite complicated if you're talking about someone with a chronic condition or who needs therapy. Both of these families are hoping to be able to register their children for school, and they're also hoping to access mental health counseling.
All right, thanks for this, Reiner. Reiner Stewart in London tonight. Braving the icy waters of the Southern Ocean, the Navy's HMCS Margaret Brooke takes on a vital research mission.
Time is always what can't you see is really the biggest thing.
As the Navy prepares its next mission, Susan Ormiston with onboard lessons of what to expect next. Nine months ago, the Royal Canadian Navy led its first scientific expedition to Antarctica, and CBC News international climate correspondent Susan Ormiston was on board.
We need to start the proficiency within our own Navy as we start kind of venturing into being in the Arctic maybe more frequently than we have been in the past.
Susan's here tonight with news of another southern adventure. Susan, what's going on?
Well, that Antarctica expedition is being highlighted here in Calgary at Arctic Net. That's a big conference with all the top Arctic policymakers and scientists. And we've learned that the Canadian Navy is going back to Antarctic in March, just a few months from now. this time on a Chilean vessel with the Chilean Navy, and again, a group of Canadian scientists, the Coast Guard, and other officials. It's a big mission, Christine, as we found out last March.
Haunting age-old ice. Broken off glaciers years ago. Molded by seawater into the stunning architecture of the Southern Ocean. But the frozen beauty hides a menace for explorers on a Canadian Navy vessel navigating its channels, especially at night.
Okay, stop both engines. Half thrust starboard. And it's just about midway down now? Yeah. Okay. Good.
On the bridge, Navy watchkeepers and navigators peer into the gloom, maneuvering powerful spotlights to find the tip of an iceberg.
Stop thruster. Stop thruster.
Without the spot, they're invisible, and as much as 90% of the ice lies below water. The weather's deteriorating, and the HMCS Margaret Brooke is on its final push south in Antarctica.
And whatever we can do with the center one to try to get a better picture ahead would be awesome.
Commander Terry Scher has been on the bridge much of the night.
In between, like the bigger one off the port bow and the smaller one off the starboard bow, that's where I'm going to try to go. Does that make sense? Nighttime is always what can't you see, is really the biggest thing. Our ice radars are actually fantastic. They've been working very, very well. So that's been able to get us kind of that bubble. I'll call it the safety bubble around the ship. The more I know about what's in that bubble, the better off our team can be to help kind of remove ourselves from any risks or dangers to the ship.
By morning, the snowfall's given way to overcast skies and much more ice. A fresh shift reports to the bridge. The more eyes, the better. The plan is to sail on south, but up ahead, it appears the ice has clogged the channel.
It does look a little clogged. Yeah.
The Margaret Brooke is designed to break through new ice up to 1 meter thick, but they don't know the depth of the ice ahead or whether there's clear water beyond.
I'm going to let the MCR know we may need ice breaking.
Yep. Copy. I'll bring up beast generator number 2 and beast generator number 4. Is it okay if I leave them at idle until we get close to the ice?
Yep. Yeah.
As commanding officer, Terry Scher had made the call to go, but the ice can shift, and it has.
You know, it was a heightened level, absolutely. We can take all of the precautions that we can take. We can use all of the information that is provided to us. But still there comes to a point, then it's on me as the commanding officer to say yes or no. Do we proceed or do we kind of say, yeah, all right, this is as far south as we can go. Okay, speed over the ground, please.
3.5 knots.
Roger.
They've done their checklist and decided to advance.
We're currently in ice mode as we speak right now.
Okay,
Plowing the bow of the Margaret Brooke into the ice sheet. It's starting to splinter, cracks opening up. The ship is passing through steadily, cautiously, with glaciers on either side and icebergs all around.
Stop thruster.
Stop thrust.
Half ahead both engines.
Half ahead both engines.
The risk calculation is paying off. The ice moves aside as the ship carves its path.
Very good. It's all good. Yeah, it's breaking up. So I'll be honest, this is the first ice breaking that I was able to do personally. So done a lot in the simulators and everything. So that was definitely I needed to make sure that I wasn't making the decision because of me, and that I needed to trust my team who had experience ice breaking in some other opportunities. So from a career perspective, really, really cool to be able to get to do that.
For the ship's operations officer, Jeff Brooker, getting here and breaking ice was all good stress.
Pretty intense experience for everybody.
Yes. Obviously, it's unlike what we're normally doing. That's an experience that, as a watchkeeper, we need to start the proficiency within our own AV as we start kind of venturing into being in the Arctic maybe more frequently than we have been in the past.
So everything that we did down in Antarctica, every lesson that we learned in Antarctica, we can apply to the north.
The destination was worth the effort. Rothera Bay.
Very good.
Home to a research station run by the British Antarctic Survey, a permanent base in a stunning landscape. This was as far south as the Margaret Brook would go. The ship would turn back the next day, taking an outer route in open seas to return to Chile. The month-long Antarctic expedition was nearing its end. For the Royal Canadian Navy and the science team in collaboration, it was just one long experiment.
So I really think we're coming back as a Margaret Brook family. I think one of the scientists, I heard them say that their goal was to make the RCN love science, and I can't speak for the RCN, but I can speak for our family. And absolutely, they've stolen our hearts.
Such incredible scenes, Susan. Why is Canada going back?
You know, the mission signals Canada's intent to have a bigger role in the Antarctic, in part to help with our work in our own Canadian Arctic. I mean, it's a key priority for Canadian security and for science in an area that's so vulnerable to climate change. But just like in our Arctic up north, there are politics in the south too, and Canada is driving towards becoming a voting member of the Antarctic Treaty, which governs all things in the Antarctica, from a country's footprint to science to security. So it's fair to say that Canada wants a bigger role at both ends of our Earth.
Thanks, Susan. Susan Ormiston in Calgary tonight. Here's another story we're working on. Sudan's deadly civil war includes a battle for the country's vast gold reserves. Ashley Fraser looks at who controls what and how warring factions are using smuggled gold to fund their fight. Here's a preview.
The war in Sudan has been going on for 2.5 years now. And despite a humanitarian truce, the killing continues. What you might not know is that the war is partially funded by one all-important commodity: gold. Sudan in the last decade has become Africa's third largest gold producer, next to South Africa and Ghana. But unlike those countries, the gold in Sudan is seen as a currency for arms. According to a report from SwissAid, an estimated 50 to 70% of Sudan's gold production is smuggled out of the country each year, mainly to the UAE. That's because the collapsed economy since the war has led to an unregulated market, allowing warring parties to profit. Now, the war is between two factions: Sudanese Armed Forces, or SAF, led by Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, led by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hemeti.
And you can watch Ashley's full story on Wednesday, right here on The National. Coming up, a holiday tradition lights up a coastal town in Newfoundland.
Every year they add on more and more, from lights, thousands of lights, to blow-ups.
How fishermen show their holiday spirit, next in our moment. This is Port Graves, Newfoundland, a coastal community lit up by thousands of Christmas lights. It's an annual tradition dating back to 1999. Every year, fishermen deck out their boats to spread the holiday cheer. Their festive lights make our moment.
Every year they add on more and more, from lights, thousands of lights, to blow-ups. It's just unbelievable. For 27 years now, we've been lighting up Port Graves Harbour. We invited the boats to take part, and they all do it willingly. The residents, they go above and beyond. When the fishermen are finished for the winter, they turn on a light in their boat so that they'll know that the power was on. One lone fisherman decided one Christmas, the Christmas before we started this, to put a string of Christmas lights on. I wondered if they would light up their boats. We sent out letters to the fishermen, and the very first year in 1999, we had 36 boats light up. On my boat, there's thousands. We got candy canes on her, we got a Christmas tree on her. We put a 8.5-foot Santa Claus on the wharf, so the kids go down and adults go down and get their picture taken. That's our Christmas. It is family traditions. The community just loves it. Some people have been coming now for 27 years. They're all good memories.
Looks magical. They get around 20 to 30,000 visitors a year now. They're even getting some international attention. A boat from Germany just docked. First time anyone's arrived from another country, and it's all lit up. Joyce says her favorite part is just sitting on her boat and chatting with strangers who happen to wander by. Well, from all of us here at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Christine Birak. Take care.